Well, we've picked a lovely day for it, haven't we? We're in the heart of the old city here in Bangkok, and our trip along Thailand's oldest and most historic street starts right here at Saranrom Chai intersection. We're just a stone's throw away from the famous Grand Palace and across the street from the Temple of the Reclining Buddha. We got lots of info, stories, history, and a couple of detours along the way, and we're heading from here to Bangrak. So welcome to Charoen Krung Road, Part 1. Charoen Krung Road dates back to 1862, but to find out how it all began, we have to go back to 1855. In this year, the Boring Treaty was signed, which liberalised free trade in Siam. As a result, many foreign countries set up diplomatic missions, trading companies and residences along the Chao Phraya River. Many of these foreign consuls soon realised that due to a lack of roads, there was nowhere to go out for a walk or ride their horses and carriages. So a petition was presented to the King, Rama IV, and Charoen Krung Road was built in 1862. Originally it was named Talat Noi, or New Road, but it was renamed by the King Charoen Krung Road, which means prosperity of the city. As we start our journey along Charoen Krung Road, if you're already feeling a little bit tired, there's always Saranrom Palace Park on the left-hand side, and you can't miss it. The big gates, the fountain, it's a great place to take a seat, grab a cold drink and marvel in the picturesque settings. A little bit further along is the first bridge on Charoen Krung Road. This is the Sathit Bridge, goes over the old city moat, and this is your first chance for a quick detour. You can take a walk along the old city moat, admire some of the historic bridges, and then double back and continue your journey along Charoen Krung Road. I'm outside one of Thailand's most famous theatres, the Sala Charoen Krung Royal Theatre, which was commissioned by King Rama VII in 1930 and opened 3 years later, just in time to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the founding of the city. This was the first theatre in Thailand to have air conditioning, and its modernist architecture and design ensures it still fits in today. When they were digging the MRT Blue Line underneath Charoen Krung Road, they had to demolish a lot of old buildings along the way, some of which had been around for well over a century. But when they rebuilt them afterwards, they made sure they blended in with the surroundings, which I thought was a really nice touch. A lot of traffic heading over the Damrong Sathit bridge today, but it doesn't bother me. I'm stopping here to give you a bit of background on this famous local landmark. It was originally built out of cast iron back in 1862, and it had a mechanism that could open up to allow boats to pass through it. And nearby was a pier where boats from all over the world would come and dock and a lot of goods were imported through here. The area became synonymous with traders, market stalls and street vendors over the years, and it morphed into what we knew as Sapan Lek Market. The market was so big that it was built on girders going across the canal. You couldn't even see the water. In 2015, this was all demolished when the government wanted to revitalise the area, and in 2020 it was opened as the Khlong Ong Ang Walking Street. On the other side of all these shops is the old Thieves market, which closed about 6 years ago. Now, a couple of years ago I tried to get in so I can take some photos, but bribing the security man was a bit of a no-go. I've been told if I go down this alleyway to the end, there's an old doorway I can get through and I can walk around and do what the hell I want without security seeing me. So we're going to take a walk down this alleyway and see where it goes. Just after the old Thieves market, we come to the S.A.B intersection where Charoen Krung Road meets Warachok and Chakrapet roads. S.A.B was a Belgian company founded in 1912, and their headquarters were in this building on the corner here. Nowadays, it's a branch of Kerry Express. Well, we're more or less in the heart of Chinatown here, running parallel to Yawalat Road. This is Sue Pa intersection where Charoen Krung meets Ratchawong Road, and this is probably the most traffic clogged, gridlocked part of the whole of Charoen Krung Road. When they were demolishing the old buildings to make way for Wat Mangkon MRT station, this block was exposed to the world. I can only describe it as a slum in the sky. It's not in very good condition, as you can see, but if you go around the front, it's even worse. You'll see rats so big that even the cats don't fancy it. About 20 years after the road opened, tracks were laid and horse-drawn trams first appeared. They were not very popular due to very high fares, and people had sympathy for the poor horses, so they were operating at a heavy loss. That all changed a few years later when in 1892 a Danish company came in and electrified the line. By 1920 there were 11 different tram routes operating all over Bangkok. So finally we're heading out of the busy part of Chinatown. Here at the Moat intersection is where Rama 4 Road starts. We're now heading down towards Talat Noi and Bangrak, but first we're going to stop at the Chinatown gate in the Odeon circle. Well, I'm very relieved to have made it out of Chinatown in one piece. It's so hectic, it's so easy to get sucked into all the hustle and bustle around there. I've got to the Odeon circle. Anyway, this is also known as the Wong Wien Odeon intersection. It's where Yaowarat Road meets Charoen Krung Road, and it was named after the old Odeon theatre that used to be right behind me. It's now a car park building. It was demolished in 1988. And this is also the location of the Chinatown gate, as you can see right behind me. That was built in 1999 to celebrate the 72nd birthday of King Bhumibol Rama IX. Here at Song Wat intersection, two directions of traffic come together, and from here onwards, for a short while, we're actually walking against the traffic. You know, someone said to me the other day, they said, "Pat, why are you into all this crappy architecture from the old days? It's all going to be gone soon." And that is precisely the reason why. It will all be gone, and one day in the future, some kid in 2050 or 60 might look back on the old days of Bangkok now and need some footage. So I like to think I'm doing the kids of the future a huge favour by doing these videos. Anyway, this part of Charoen Krung Road runs alongside Talat Noi, which is a part of Chinatown, but it's a little bit more laid back and chilled out, and it's famous for architecture, coffee shops, street art, cats, alleyways, and of course car parks. There's lots of them if you walk around Talat Noi. And don't forget to visit that famous old car. Appearances can be deceptive. The new Chinese daily news building looks like it's been abandoned from the outside, but upon closer inspection that is definitely not the case, and they are posting the daily news on their notice board outside. Anyway, this is the point where Charoen Krung Road crosses the Khlong Krung Canal on the Pitya Satien Bridge. This canal was dug in 1852 as a trade route for boats coming in off the river. They could go along the canal, pick up their goods from the back of shops, warehouses and different businesses, and then continue and go back out onto the river without having to turn around. As we move into Bangrak district, first bit of interesting history here. This building was the tallest in the city when it was built in 1927, and it belonged to local landowner and entrepreneur Lert, also known as Noi Ler. This was his department store, and it was the first in Thailand to sell imported lemonade from Singapore. At the back of the store alongside the canal was his house and the Siam Ice Works. If you walk down Soi 30, you'll come to Warehouse 30, which has several art galleries, coffee shops and second-hand stores. This old warehouse was actually occupied by the Japanese during World War II, and the original landowner was Lert, also known as Noi Ler. Now, I've walked around here a few times in the past, and I love the arty thing, but there's only one place around here that does it for me, and that's the Aurum Gallery. Some interesting street art in Soi 32. I'm sure you'll agree with that. A lot of people come and admire it every single day. And the term creative district was given to this area many years ago. It's in reference to the neighbourhoods of Bangrak, Khlong, Talat Noi, the Chao River. And it describes the people, the events, the inventions, the achievements, the industry that has gone on around here in the last 200 years that has had a bearing on the modernisation and development of Thailand. And if you look back through history, there's been a hell of a lot around here. So I thought it would be nice to get off Charoen Krung Road for a bit and take a wander down one of the sois. I've chosen Soi 43 for our detour, so let's hope there's a few interesting things along the way. Well, this is the real reason why we came down Soi 43. I did have ulterior motives, as you probably guessed, but the fantastic Bangkokian Museum is well worth the walk, trust me. It's a great place to spend a couple of hours. Admission is free, and if you've ever wondered what a middle-class Thai household was like between the 1930s and the 1950s, they've got one preserved right here. The old Bangrak Post and Telegraph building was built in the late 1930s on the site of the old British consulate. The landowner, Lert did a swap deal with the British government whereby they could get a plot of land in Plonchit and build their embassy, and he could sell this land to the government. The Bangrak Post and Telegraph building was opened in 1940. Here in Soi 36, you've got a couple of really historic buildings. At the end is the old customs house, which was built in 1888 in the Palladian style, as they call it. And it was the customs house until 1949, then became the home for the Marine Police. And there's a lot of old houses in the vicinity. I'm assuming they must be connected to the French embassy, maybe the old ambassador's house, but I had a good look round and they definitely not lived in. I'll do a bit of research on those, and if there's any information I can find, it will appear on the screen in subtitles. Between Sois 36 and 38, this is a very grand building called OP Place, and the building actually dates back to 1908. It opened as a department store called Folk and Bidek. I think I got the pronunciation correct. It was known locally as Hang Sin Door, the Lion's Store, and in the 80s became Oriental Plaza. Anyway, around here there's a lot of old buildings behind corrugated iron walls, and I would really love to know the history. Anyway, over here is Soi 40, Oriental Avenue as it's known, home of the Oriental Hotel. Next to that is the East Asiatic Company Limited building. Further back is Assumption Cathedral. It's been a lot of fun charting the history of this street over the last few days. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, like, share, leave a comment. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so via the Buy Me a Coffee link on the screen. There's also links to Ko-fi and PayPal in the description. That just leaves me to say thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.